Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep, really deep, into the whole idea of conformity, especially in the age of social media.
Oh, yeah?
We'll be looking closely at this ebook, The Psychology of Conformity, Teens, Young Adults, and Social Media.
Okay.
It's written by Ettienne-Murphy. And we really want to use this deep dive to explore some strategies, some ways to, push back against that pressure to conform and really help you guys out there listening to boost your individuality in this crazy digital world we live in.
Yeah. No, it's a really important topic, especially these days, right? I mean, think about how much social media is just part of who we are now, especially for younger people who are still trying to figure out their identity.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we get into all the how-tos, like how to resist and all that, let's just define conformity. I mean, we've all been there, right? Like laughing at a joke.
Yeah.
You don't even get just because everyone else is laughing. Or suddenly, you need that it bag that everyone's carrying. And Ettienne-Murphy, in this ebook, she really gets into how it seems so simple on the surface, but there's actually some deep psychology going on.
Oh, for sure. It's really fascinating when you start to peel back the layers. It goes way beyond just, wanting to be cool or trendy. There are some serious psychological mechanisms at play. Have you ever heard of that classic experiment by Solomon Asch, the one with the lines?
Remind me.
Basically, they had people look at different lines and say which ones matched. The thing is, they put them in a group where everyone else was intentionally giving the wrong answer.
Oh, wow.
And you know what? A lot of the participants ended up doubting their own perception and just went along with the group, even though it was obvious the group was wrong.
That is wild. Like, it really makes you realize how powerful social pressure can be. So are we all just, doomed to follow the crowd? Is there no hope?
Well, not necessarily. That's where understanding the different types of social influence comes in. Ettienne-Murphy talks about two main types: normative and informational. Normative is like that need to be liked, It's that pressure to conform so you'll fit in, like wearing a certain brand just because your friends do. And then there's informational, which is more about wanting to be right. So you might adopt a belief just because it's shared by, your online community, even if you haven't really examined it closely yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, what about teenagers and young adults?
Yeah.
They're going through so much already, right? Plus, their brains are still developing. Does that make them even more vulnerable to this kind of pressure?
Exactly. It's like a perfect storm almost. Think about it. Their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that helps with decision making, it's still under construction. But in the same time, their limbic system, that's the emotional center, is in overdrive. So they're craving connection and they get that dopamine rush from peer approval, and it all gets amplified online. It's no wonder those viral challenges like Renegade or that blinding lights dance spread like wildfire. Remember those?
Oh yeah, it's like you see everyone doing them and you instantly feel like, I don't want to be left out.
It goes beyond trends though, right? I mean, Ettienne-Murphy talks about how social media itself is practically designed to encourage conformity.
Oh, absolutely. It's baked right into the structure. Algorithms, those behind-the-scenes codes, they prioritize what's already popular, what's trending,
right? Content
with tons of engagement. So it's like this cycle where what's trendy gets even trendier. It makes it really hard not to jump on board.
And then you've got the influencers. They're like the trendsetters, right? Their endorsements can really shape what young people think is cool or, worth doing. We've seen the good side of that with things like the Ice Bucket Challenge raising awareness for ALS.
Yeah.
But then there was the Tide Pod Challenge, which was obviously really dangerous. It just shows how risky things can get. Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial question. What happens when this pressure to conform starts to affect mental health? That's a big focus in Ettienne-Murphy's book.
Because, all those perfectly curated online lives, it can really mess with your self-esteem. You start comparing yourself, and it can lead to anxiety, even depression.
Right. Oh, absolutely. That comparison trap is so easy to fall into. And that constant fear of missing out, or FOMO, as they call it, it's incredibly powerful, especially for young people. They might start feeling like they're not good enough, not popular enough, or that their life just isn't exciting enough because of what they're seeing online.
That's really concerning.
Yeah.
So knowing all this, what can we do? How can we actually help ourselves and young people navigate this tricky online world and resist all that pressure? Because it sounds like an uphill battle.
It doesn't have to be. Ettienne-Murphy offers some really empowering strategies in her ebook, and it all starts with critical thinking. Before you jump on any trend, just pause for a second and ask yourself, do I genuinely like this? Am I doing this because I want to or because I feel like I have to?
I love that. It's like becoming a conscious consumer of social media, not just passively absorbing whatever's thrown at you. But how do we actually build that inner strength to resist? Because it's easy to say, think critically, but putting it into practice, that's the tough part.
Right. And that's where fostering self-awareness and self-acceptance come in. Think of it like building your individuality muscle. Ettienne-Murphy recommends things like journaling, really exploring your genuine interests offline, doing things that help you connect with yourself outside of that digital world. It's about finding those things that make you unique, make you you, and embracing them. When you have a strong sense of self, all those pressures from outside, they just don't have as much power over you.
So it's not about ditching social media completely. It's more about learning to use it in a way that feels good, that actually empowers you.
That's it exactly. Finding that balance. You can still enjoy all the good parts of social media, connecting with friends, discovering new things. Just do it with a little more awareness, a little more intention.
Right. And I remember Ettienne-Murphy talked about setting boundaries too, like having those tech-free zones or maybe making dinner a device-free time.
Oh, those are great strategies. Really important. It's about making space for those real-life connections. Those face-to-face interactions that are so crucial for well-being. It's funny, in a way, it's like we're all relearning how to be social in this digital world.
It's true. We're so used to connecting through screens. Sometimes we forget what it's like to just be present with someone. No notifications, no filters, just real human connection.
And this isn't just for teenagers and young adults. This is for everyone. We could all benefit from taking a step back, looking at our own social media habits, no matter how old we are.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're all susceptible to those pressures, whether we realize it or not. I mean, so much of what we see online is filtered, it's curated, it's easy to fall into that comparison trap.
And that's the thing. Social media, it often gives us this distorted view of reality. We're only seeing the highlight reel. We're not seeing the struggles, the imperfections, all the behind-the-scenes stuff that everyone goes through.
It's like that saying, don't compare your blooper reel to someone else's highlight reel.
Exactly. Keeping that perspective is so important. Everyone's on their own unique journey, and comparing yourself to others, well, it just robs you of joy. It takes you off your own path.
And Ettienne-Murphy talks a lot about the role of parents and educators in all of this. What kind of advice does she have for them?
Well, open communication is key. Just creating a safe space for young people to talk about their experiences with social media, good and bad, is so important. And parents, educators, they can play a role in educating young people about how social media works. Things like algorithms, the influence of advertising. It's about giving them the tools to think critically.
Right, equipping them to navigate this whole complex digital world.
Exactly. Help them become informed, discerning users of social media, not just passive consumers. And of course, the most powerful thing is modeling healthy social media habits ourselves. Actions speak louder than words, right?
That's so true. If young people see the adults in their lives using social media in a balanced, mindful way, that sends a powerful message.
For sure.
It shows them it's possible to enjoy the benefits without letting it take over their life or define their self-worth.
And that's a message we all need to hear.
It really is. Now, what about the future of social media? I mean, things are constantly changing. What are some of the trends or considerations that we might see down the line?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is this rise of platforms that really prioritize authenticity, genuine connection.
Interesting.
As more people become aware of the downsides of that super curated, image-driven online world that we see so much of, I think we might see a shift. More platforms that encourage real, meaningful interactions, real conversations.
That would be amazing. Social media being used more for sharing genuine experiences and building real connections. I love that.
And we might also see a decline in the popularity of those viral trends that pressure people to conform.
Oh, yeah.
As we understand more about the mental health implications of that stuff, there might be this collective pushback against those harmful challenges, those unrealistic beauty standards, all of that.
It's like reclaiming that sense of individuality, embracing what makes each of us unique, what we were talking about before.
Right. And as technology keeps advancing, I think we might see more digital wellness features being integrated into social media platforms. Things like prompts to take breaks, tools for managing your screen time, maybe even built-in mental health check-ins.
I can see those being incredibly helpful. Like, imagine your phone actually reminding you to take a break or connect with someone in the real world. That'd be so cool.
It all comes down to finding ways to use technology to enhance our lives, not detract from our well-being. And I think that's becoming more of a focus as we learn more about how tech impacts our mental health.
It really has been a fascinating conversation. It makes you think about how social media is shaping all of our lives, how we can navigate this digital world in a way that's enjoyable and healthy at the same time. What a balancing act.
It is. It's complex. It's constantly evolving. But I think the key takeaway for me is this. We all need to find that balance between fitting in and staying true to ourselves.
Finding that sweet spot where we can connect and engage online, but never lose sight of who we are offline.
That's it. And it's about giving young people the tools and the encouragement to use their voices, to embrace what makes them unique, and to create a more positive, more authentic online experience for everyone.
Well said. Thanks so much for joining me for this deep dive. And to everyone listening out there, we hope this conversation has given you some food for thought. Maybe even some practical tools to navigate this ever-changing world of social media. Remember, stay true to yourself, be kind to others, and don't be afraid to stand out from the crowd. Your uniqueness, that's what makes you special.
Yeah, it all comes back to that self-awareness, really owning who you are.
It really does. It's about reminding ourselves, reminding young people that their worth, it doesn't come from likes or followers. It comes from who they are deep down. Those external validations, they come and go, but true self-worth, that comes from within.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the psychology of conformity, this awesome ebook by Ettienne-Murphy, what's like the one big takeaway? What's that golden nugget of wisdom that you hope everyone listening will walk away with, especially as they're trying to figure out this whole social media world? It really goes back to balance, something we've been talking about a lot today. Social media, it can be a really powerful tool for connection, for learning, even for personal growth. But we have to use it consciously, with intention. We can't let it dictate who we are, how we feel about ourselves.
We have to be the authors of our own stories, right?
Yeah.
Online and offline. Choose our influences, choose what shapes our identity.
Exactly. Embrace what makes you you. Cultivate those real-world connections. And remember, true happiness, it comes from within, not from the number of likes on a post or the trends that you follow. And to anyone out there who's struggling with this, just know you're not alone. We all face these pressures. It's an ongoing journey for all of us to find that balance.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. And to everyone listening, we hope this has given you some things to think about, maybe even some practical ideas for navigating this ever-changing world of social media. Stay true to yourselves, be kind to each other, and don't be afraid to stand out from the crowd. Your uniqueness, that's your superpower.